Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden force in our economy. It's the reason why so many brands you love might suddenly start to suck, or even just disappear completely.
You've probably felt this, right? Your favorite snack recipe changes for the worse, or that amazing local shop just isn't the same anymore. It can feel totally random, but a lot of the time, it's really not. There's a pattern here, and we're about to break it down. And you know the signs. First, the quality just dips. Then the prices start creeping up. You notice they're always short-staffed. And then, bam, one day the doors are locked for good. These are all clues, and they're pointing to something bigger changing behind the scenes. So, who's the usual suspect in our little mystery? Well, more often than not, it's an industry called private equity. It's a massive, powerful part of our economy, but it's one that operates mostly in the shadows, away from public view. Okay, so what is a private equity firm or a PE firm? Put simply, it's a company whose whole business is buying other companies. But here's the key. They don't just buy a few shares. No, they buy the entire company, take complete control, and their one and only goal is to squeeze as much profit out of it as fast as they can so they can sell it off in just a few years. The best way to get your head around it is to think about flipping a house. You buy it, maybe throw on a cheap coat of paint, fix a few things to make it look good, and then sell it fast for a profit. That's the private equity mindset. The only difference is their house is a living, breathing company with real people, real products, and customers who depend on them. And it's really important not to mix them up with other financial players. You've heard of venture capital, right? They invest in risky new startups, hoping to find the next Google. Hedge funds, they're making all kinds of aggressive bets on the stock market.
Private equity is different. They go after established, stable, often large companies, the ones that are already making money. So you might be wondering, how do these firms get the cash to buy an entire company? Well, this is where we get to the heart of their whole strategy. It's a wild financial move that sounds complicated, but the basic idea is shockingly simple, and it's almost all built on debt. It's called a leveraged buyout, or an LBO, and it basically works in 4 steps. Step 1, they find a company they want. Step 2, they go out and borrow a truly massive amount of money. Step 3, they use all that borrowed cash to buy the company. And then step 4, you gotta pay attention here, because this is the magic trick. They move all of that debt onto the company they just bought. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, so let's walk through it with a simple example. Let's pretend there's this great family-owned company called Wee Wee Shoes. Wee Wee Shoes is a solid business, it's doing well, and it's valued at $100 million. A private equity firm sees it and decides, I want that. Now, you think they need to come up with that full $100 million, right? Wrong. This is the wild part. The PE firm might only put in a small sliver of their own money, say $20 million. So where does the rest come from? They borrow it. They go to banks and lenders and take out a massive $80 million loan to cover the rest of the purchase price. Okay, so who has to pay back that giant $80 million loan? The PE firm? Nope. In a final move, they take that huge debt and just drop it onto Wee Wee Shoes' balance sheet. The company itself is now responsible for paying back the loan that was used to buy it. It's like forcing someone to buy their own birthday present with a high-interest loan. And if you think this is just some weird hypothetical, I've got 2 words for you. Toys R Us. This is almost exactly what happened to them. After their leveraged buyout, the company was so swamped with debt payments, it had no money left to actually, run the business. It couldn't innovate, couldn't compete with online stores, and eventually it all came crashing down into bankruptcy. Alright, so the company is now officially choking on debt. Its number 1 mission, above everything else, is to generate cash, and lots of it, just to make the loan payments. And this is where the private equity playbook really kicks into gear. The strategies are all about one thing, extracting cash fast. First, you cut costs. That means laying off workers and finding cheaper, lower quality materials. Then you raise prices, because you know customers are locked in. And then comes the direct wealth extraction. You sell off the company's real estate, you load it up with even more debt just to collect special fees, and you pay yourself massive dividends straight out of the company's bank account. Let's zoom in on one of those tactics, because it's a really good example. It's called the sale-leaseback. So before the buyout, our little shoe company owned all its own stores. Those buildings are valuable assets. They own outright. After the buyout, the PE firm sells off all those buildings. This gives them a huge one-time pile of cash. Great for them. But now, the shoe company has to pay rent in the exact same buildings it used to own. They traded a valuable asset for a brand new, permanent, monthly bill. It's a genius way to get cash out, but it leaves the company much, much weaker. So you can see how all these moves are designed to service that massive debt and, of course, make the PE firm rich. But they have very real and very painful consequences. Which leads us to the big question. Who actually ends up paying the price for all this? Well,
The impact just ripples outwards. Workers are usually first on the chopping block, facing layoffs. Customers end up paying more for a product that's gotten worse. Entire communities can be devastated when a major employer shuts down. And now that private equity is moving into things like housing, tenants are the ones feeling the pain through skyrocketing rents and neglected buildings. What you end up with is this tale of 2 completely different fates. On one side, you have the company. It's loaded with debt, its quality is in a nosedive, and it's constantly staring down the barrel of bankruptcy. But on the other side, you've got the private equity firm. They're collecting fees the whole time, they're taking out huge dividends. They can, and often do, walk away with millions in profit, even if the company they bought ends up in ruins. I know what you're probably thinking right now. If this model can be so destructive, why on earth is it getting bigger and more powerful every single year? Well, there are some pretty big systemic forces at play here. You could say it's been a perfect storm. For much of the last decade, super low interest rates made borrowing billions of dollars incredibly cheap, which just poured fuel on the LBO fire. At the same time, massive investors like our own pension funds were desperate to find high returns, so they pumped trillions of dollars into private equity. This ocean of cash allowed PE to expand from just retail into essential services like hospitals, nursing homes, and apartment buildings. All the while, government regulations just haven't been able to keep up. And that leaves us with one final, really important question. This playbook we've been talking about isn't just for toy stores and shoe companies anymore. It's being used on our hospitals, our emergency rooms, our apartment buildings. So as this model takes over the most essential parts of our lives, we have to ask ourselves, what is the ultimate price we're willing to pay for this type of profit?